Hello, future Spartans and families. I am so glad you could join us for our virtual open house this evening. My name is Dr. Jim Coleman, and I'm the Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor here at UNC Greensboro. And that means I'm the Senior Academic Administrator overseeing all of our academic programs and instruction. And that's a big job considering we offer more than 125 undergraduate programs alone. No matter what you choose to study, my job is to make sure your educational experience at UNCG is second to none. We do that first by ensuring teaching excellence. I just joined UNCG in July, and I worked in several well-known universities before I came here. And I have been blown away with just how much our faculty really care about the success of UNCG students. And they're also very passionate about teaching, so you can count on getting direct instruction from the very best teachers around. Our faculty are also regularly recognized as leading scholars and artists in their fields. They make breakthroughs in many disciplines, ranging from biochemistry to history, or they receive accolades from audiences and readers in disciplines like theater, music, and creative writing. Our faculty are impressive, and you will get to know them. For example, as a UNCG student, you will have the opportunity to learn about biology from a NASA-funded scientist who has experiments out in space, or study musical theater under a successful Broadway composer. UNCG also excels beyond the classroom. Now, there's a network of faculty and staff here who will support your ambitions and will help you find your calling. After all, this is college, and there's no better time to try something new. So whether you decide to work in a neuroscience lab or spend a semester studying Spanish culture in Peru, or to do both, the truth is at UNCG is that you can do it. Learning here extends far beyond the classroom walls, and we are all here rooting for you and supporting you to chase your dreams. And finally, UNCG is a place where there's a fantastic support system for you if you just need a little extra help. And everyone, including me, needs some help sometimes. So whether it's tutoring or note-taking workshops or coaching for your speaking, helping students succeed in school and beyond is what we do here. And I am so proud of our legacy of providing a supportive and caring environment for every one of our students. And at the end of the day, no matter what you choose to study, you, the student, truly matter here at UNC Greensboro. After all, what's a university without its students? We wouldn't be here. So it is my great honor to serve you as provost by providing a meaningful and life-changing education. And I really can't wait to see where your college journey takes you. And I really hope you'll find a home here at UNCG.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another session of our virtual open house series happening this fall. My name is Corinne. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at UNCG. I'm really excited that you joined us today to learn a little bit more about our pre-professional programs that we have here at the G. I have a panel of experts on the subject, so whether they are faculty members or current students within these programs, they have a ton of information that they're going to share with you. I just also want to point out the texting number that you should see, right there at the bottom of the screen. So if you have any questions throughout this entire stream, just go ahead and shoot your question to that text, and we'll be able to answer it live here for you. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the panel that I have with me here today. So we'll just go through brief introductions first, and then we'll go ahead and get into content. I'll go ahead and introduce everybody in the order that they are on my screen. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Professor Maxwell. So if you just want to share who you are and kind of what you do.
Sure. I am Robin Maxwell, I'm the chair of Health Career Advising at UNC Greensboro. And I'm going to be talking to you guys in just a minute about just general pre-professional ideas.
Awesome. And next we have Dr. Ingram.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy Ingram. I am also in the biology department. I teach our anatomy course. I'm also the assistant chair of pre-health advising here at UNCG. Today, I'll be talking to you about our biology major and how that kind of intertwines with a lot of different pre-professional preparation tracks.
Okay, thank you so much. Next we have a returning veteran for our live streams. We have Dr. Terra Nova.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I am Dr. Terra Nova. I'm in the Department of Kinesiology, and I will be talking to you about our pre-physical therapy track and our Master of Science in Athletic Training program in the Kinesiology Department.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have Professor Oberles.
Hello, I'm Nick Oberles. I'm a professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. I should tell you, all of you students out there, I have a daughter who's a senior in high school, so I've been on the other side of this. I hope we're informative for you, but if we're not, just shoot us questions and we'll get off script and get into what you want to know. I will tell you a little bit about the chemistry and the biochemistry programs. There are a couple majors there, as well as a pre-pharmacy track.
Okay, sounds good. So now we're going to transition over to introducing our students. So if you want to say your name, your major, your track that you were in, and yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start off with Luz.
Hi everyone, my name is Luz Mejia. I am a fourth year psychology pre-med student, double minoring in chemistry and biology. My family is from Honduras and I'm from a very small town here in North Carolina called Morganton. I am the president of a pre-professional student organization called MAPS, stands for the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students. Although we are pre-med, we are open to all pre-health students. This semester, we have had the opportunity to establish a mentoring program, and this has been very helpful for our first year transfer and post-bac students who are a little bit confused in days about how to achieve those resources that UNCG has to offer for everyone. As a pre-med student, I've had the opportunity to be a part of research labs. I've had the opportunity to study abroad in Spain, and I am also a part of the undergraduate admissions office with the Latino Student Affairs. I am the student ambassador. With that, we have had the pleasant opportunity to sponsor and hold a summer enrichment program called Chance. And this is a week-long camp for high school students, enriching them and gearing them towards the college application, college prep, and advice for first-generation students at what it means to be at a four-year university.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have Siobhan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Siobhan Owens. I am a senior with a major in psychology, a minor in biology and human development and family studies with a concentration in pre-physician assistant. I'm also the current president of ANZA, which is the American Medical Student Association. I have on the shirt, wait, this side. I'm not really sure if you can really see it. I keep trying to do this, but then my head gets taken out of frame, but I'll introduce more later on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next up, we have James.
Hi, Noah Haskanu. Thank you and welcome everyone. My name is James Stevens. I'm a junior biology major with a minor in chemistry from Wake Forest, North Carolina, and I intend to pursue a dual MD PhD. Here at UNCG, I also serve as president of the Native American Student Association and an honors ambassador, and I'm a McNair Scholar as well. And I'll share more about the Honors College and the McNair Scholars Program and the opportunities for research that we have as undergraduate students a little later on.
Okay, thank you so much, James. Next up, we have Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a junior kinesiology major with a pre-physical therapy interest track. Later, I'll be talking about undergraduate research within the kin department, observation hours for PT school, and the Helping Hands Club.
Okay, and last but not least on our panel today, we have Alan. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Alan Jimenez. I am a senior first-generation student at UNCG, majoring in global languages and communities with a pre-dentistry track. I am the president of the UNCG Dental Club, so I'll be talking about that and other things that you can do to improve your opportunities and grow as a professional.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So now that you get an understanding of who our panelists are, we're going to get into some content and kind of explaining what our pre-professional tracks are and how they can help you out as a student. So I'm going to turn it over to Professor Maxwell to kind of give an introduction of the programs and kind of let you know what they're all about.
Wonderful. So welcome everyone. First off, when you think about a pre-professional track at UNCG, I want to first make sure everyone realizes that we're going to talk about the academic piece, which is really important. Everyone knows you have to be academically excellent as well as score well on admissions tests to get into a professional school, be it med school, dental school, pharmacy school, PT school. However, many students don't realize that you also need to have experiences that make you stand out. And so one of the things that we do at UNCG is also help you get those experiences, which must be significant and longitudinal. They must stretch over all of the years that you're in college. Those include service to an underserved population, volunteerism to help those less fortunate or different from yourself. They include leadership, and there's multiple opportunities for leadership on campus and off campus that our student panel are going to talk about. And then finally, clinical experience in your field, whether it's shadowing a dentist or working as a CNA in a nursing home, or doing that clinical observation that they talked about for physical therapy. You're going to need experience in the field that you're planning to go into. And all of that together is going to make a successful pre-professional student application. And we'll work with you on that. As everyone has alluded to, at UNCG, a pre-professional designation is considered an interest track. It's not a major. You can't graduate with a degree in pre-med. Instead, you can declare that pre-professional interest track on your Spartan Link application to accompany any major. The opportunities that you have are to declare pre-medicine as an interest track. That includes DO and MD medicine, as well as podiatry and optometry, pre-dentistry, pre-physician assistant, pre-pharmacy, pre-occupational therapy, and pre-physical therapy. So those are the interest tracks that you will declare to go alongside any major that you want. But we also help people who are preparing for diverse fields such as genetic counseling, anesthesiology assistant, speech pathology and audiology, medical perfusionist. There are many health-related fields, and we'll help you prepare for any of those. The choice of a major is completely separate from your pre-professional interest track. And as you could tell from the students introducing themselves, you're not seeing that they're very much the same. They're quite different, and they're following their passions and their interests. Your determination of which major you want is totally based on what you excel in and what you enjoy, because that's what you should choose as a major. For instance, you shouldn't be a biology pre-med major if you are really interested in psychology and you're thinking of psychiatry as a possible interest track. You shouldn't pick a biochemistry major to go along with dentistry when you're really interested in family practice and family dynamics. Then a human development and family studies with pre-dentistry interest track may be a better fit for you. Even something like women and gender studies as a major, if you're thinking of gynecology and obstetrics, or public health education, if you see yourself working in an underserved population. So picking a major is really what you are interested in and what you love. And then your pre-professional interest track will ride along with that. Because you're going to be doing two very different things while you're here at UNCG, earning a bachelor's and preparing a competitive application for a professional school, you're going to get two advisors while you're here. Your first major advisor is the person who's going to help you pick classes that will help you graduate in a timely fashion. And that's important to you. It's important to your parents too. The second advisor that you'll have assigned to you is someone from the committee that is trained and ready to help you prepare for a pre-professional career. And the faculty members that you see assembled here are amongst the members of that committee who have specialized training in certain areas. The other thing that we're going to talk about that is available to you that I want to mention before I turn it over to Dr. Ingram is that in addition to those two advisors who you will talk with a great deal and plan with, we have a Canvas pre-professional programs group. And that is an online site that houses resources, links. It's where we send announcements about dental club meetings and AMSA meetings. It's where you hear about internships that you can apply to. It's where you hear about open houses and bridging the gap programs and summer enrichment programs and jobs that you can do. All sorts of things are presented to you in announcements, but they also are going to be documents and web links that live there 24/7. So you will always have access to resources on any question that you have or anything that you're concerned about. You'll have your advisors, absolutely, but 24/7, you'll have resources there that you can just have at your fingertips to help you as you plan. So I want to turn it over to Jeremy because Jeremy's going to talk a little bit more nitty gritty about the biology major. and about some of those pre-professional courses you might be taking.
Yeah, you're welcome to take it away.
All right, I didn't know if I needed to wait for you. I think I will. I'm a little bit of a visual person, so if you don't mind, I am going to share with you guys a little screen here. I hope everybody can see that fairly well. So I'm just briefly going to talk to you about being a biology major, some of the courses that you'll come across if you choose to be a biology major. And again, as Professor Maxwell has already mentioned, you do not have to be a biology major to go into medicine or dentistry or physical therapy or anything of the sort. Your choice of major.
Hey, Dr. Ingram, if you want to switch your presentation view so it can be full screen.
Okay.
Like just go to full slideshow.
You may have to go to display settings and like swap presenter view.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah, the one on the far right there, the full screen. That one. Mm-hmm.
It's on that.
Okay, that's not what we're seeing.
On my screen.
You might need to switch your display settings. Top left corner.
We can just go with it. It's okay.
Jeremy, I'm
yes.
making the executive call. Roll with it, man.
Roll with
Students
it.
have no attention span. Keep going.
Very briefly, let me bring up a few of the courses that you will be exposed to if you choose to be a biology major. A short list of courses here that are in the biology department that all bio majors will take will include your first two, intro to bio courses, basically, Bio 1 and Bio 2. We have cell biology, genetics, ecology, and evolution. Every bio major will take those courses. In addition, bio majors get into some chemistry as well. A couple of general chemistry courses, a couple of organic chemistry courses, and then some physics and statistics. And I'm bringing this up just to show you the breadth of courses that you'll be exposed to should you choose a biology major. The other reason I'm bringing this up is because I also want to show you some of the courses that are required as prerequisites for entry or application to some of the professional schools you might be interested in, like medical school, dental school, or something of the sort. So here are some common medical school prerequisites. You'll notice I put a box around some of these courses. The introductory biology courses, the 4 chemistry courses, the 2 physics courses, and the statistics. You are going to need to take those if you are applying to medical school, whether that's MD medical school or DO medical school. So you can see there's a significant overlap between what you would take as a biology major, what you would be required to take as a biology major, and what would be required to gain entrance into medical school. I put a few other ones in here that medical schools require as well that aren't necessarily part of the biology major, like physiology, biochemistry, psychology, and sociology. But you can see there is a reason why it is common for individuals to be both a biology major and to have the pre-med interest track. There seems to be a lot of overlap here. If we move on to PA school, physician's assistant school, very similar situation. PA school requires a couple of bios, some chemistries, and statistics, which again, you're going to be taking as a bio major, along with a few other courses as well. Dental school. Here's another one. Dental school requiring a couple bios, chemistries, physics, and physiology, anatomy, and biochemistry. But what remains is there is a significant overlap between what you would take or need to take as a bio major and the courses that you would need to take to apply to a health profession school, whether it's MD, dentistry, vet school, PT school, PA, whatever it may be. There's a lot of overlap there. And so that is what you would see here at UNCG if you choose a bio major. I want to reiterate again, however, that your choice of major should be not predicated on the fact that, hey, a lot of courses that I take as a bio major would also apply when I, head toward medical school or dental school. It really should be about what you enjoy, what you're good at, what your strengths are. But I wanted you to see, here are some courses you would take, both as a bio major and if you had the MD pre-med track, if you had the dental pre-dental track or something to that effect. Just wanted to introduce you to those things, and we will move on from there.
Okay, thank you so much. I know that's definitely something that's good to know, the exact courses that people can expect to take when they come in, especially with these pre-professional tracks. So that's a lot of good information. Next up, we have Dr. Terra Nova kind of sharing about the kinesiology department and kind of the pre-professional tracks associated with that.
Sure, and thank you very much. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I'd rather hear from the students. I think you'd rather hear from the students also. And I want to leave plenty of time for Q&A. But kinesiology, first thing I got to tell you about kinesiology, very much embedded in the sciences, okay? So you have to like anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, exercise, etc. We live in the sciences also. So if you're coming into kinesiology thinking it's just playing basketball and running back and forth, it's not. And I'll let Emily talk about that in a minute. But we are really situated, just like Dr. Ingram mentioned, for pre-physical therapy tracks. So when you look at our courses, they really line up very well with what you need to go into a doctorate program in physical therapy, and really set you up physical therapy assistant, which will be at the associate level. But you'll get your anatomy, your physiology, your exercise physiology, your biomechanics, and we also have built in 18 credits of electives within our kinesiology program to help take some courses that not all programs require, but maybe one or two do, sort of like these unique unicorn type courses, like a medical terminology or a developmental psychology. So it's not part of the KIN program, but we've given you room in your 120 credits to take those courses, so you don't have to worry about taking 140 credits while here at UNCG. I'm also shamelessly plugging my shirt, because we do have a Master of Science in Athletic Training program here at UNCG. So if you're interested in athletic training, which mirrors physical therapy very closely, you can actually come to UNCG if you're undergrad and hopefully transition into our, what we call the MSAT, the Master of Science in Athletic Training. So the big thing about these programs, really based in orthopedics. So if you're interested in the human body and the orthopedic side of it, which is a lot of acute care, rehabilitation, etc., that really falls within the bailiwick of physical therapy and athletic training. If you're interested in sports and physical activity, that's athletic training, physical therapy. So if you're trying to differentiate which professional track you're leaning towards, those are the type of larger conversations you might be wanting to have. But Emily will be able to fill you in more as she is in that process right now going through it. So I look forward to any questions you have. I yield back my time, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Okay, thank you so much. So next up, our last faculty member to kind of share on that end is Professor Oberles, kind of talking about chemistry and biochemistry along with the pre-pharmacy concentration.
All right, students. Well, it's wonderful to see you all out there. I guess I have maybe three things to tell you about chemistry and biochemistry. One is, it's not like the chemistry you took in high school. So if you say to yourself, man, I did not like chemistry in high school, just trust me, you might like chemistry in college. It's very different. A lot of hands-on learning because we do a lot of laboratories, but also asking questions about the physical sciences. Sometimes students ask me, what's the difference between a chemistry major and a biochemistry major? It's subtle, but if you're a little more mathy, meaning calculus kind of comes to you, maybe you want to be a chemistry major. If you're a little more biology-ish, meaning you like studying human cells and microbiology and things like that, you might want to be a biochemistry major. If you're kind of unsure, I think biochemistry is a great safe bet, because you could start off as a biochemistry major and graduate as a biochemistry major, or you could transition to a chemistry major if you decide later in life that you're a little more mathy, or you could transition to a biology major if you decide that you're a little more biology-ish, or kinesiology for that matter as well. There are a lot of overlap. There's even overlap with psychology, to be perfectly honest. So biochemistry is a very safe major, especially if you're in a pre-health track. I don't want to show you all the data of the pre-classes you might want to take: anatomy, physiology, microbiology, statistics. But if you stacked them all up and you said, I'm not sure if I want to be pre-med or pre-vet or pre-dent or pre-pharmacy, it doesn't matter. They're almost the same prerequisites, almost the same. And then you've got your 4 years to kind of figure it out. Now, to talk to you about quickly about pharmacy, the thing I will tell you is you need a good grades, you need a good GPA, but there's probably two other things you need to get into a pre-pharmacy track, one of which is working as a pharm tech. So actually working in a pharmacy, like if you go to your local CVS or your Harris Teeter or your Walmart, there's somebody who's kind of up front, maybe talks to you, takes your prescription, those kind of things. That's usually not the pharmacist, that's a pharm tech. And every pharmacy program in the country wants you to do that. You can be paid to do that. It's something you can get credentialed with at a local community college. And it's a great way for you to figure out, do I like pharmacy or not? If you don't like being a pharm tech, you are not going to like being a pharmacist. And pharmacy schools want you to figure that out now. Okay. All right. Another quick plug then in my last minute here to tell you about our chemistry department. The difference between UNCG and let's say Elon, just up the street, or UNC Chapel Hill just up the street, is that we kind of straddle the middle of those things. Just like UNC Chapel Hill, I have millions of dollars of research funding just in my lab. But just like Elon University, I still teach the classes, right? It's not taught by a grad student. Might have a grad student helping out, might have a grad student helping out in the lab, but I'm the guy who teaches the classes, as are my colleagues. But the thing about me having millions of dollars of research, and I'm not alone, this is true in the biology department, true in kinesiology, true in psychology, is that you can be part of cutting edge frontline research. And so if you want to go to med school and you want to go to pharmacy school or you want to go to dental school or you want to go to veterinary school, working in a laboratory is a great way to figure that out. And another thing you'll figure out is in the very first year of your school here, they'll tell you that about 20% of the people who are on a pre-health track end up going to medical school or dental school or pharmacy school. So what do the other 80% do, right? They're not homeless. They're not standing there with a sign that says, I wanted to be a doctor, but I can't find a job. No, they got training in biology. They got training in biochemistry. They got training in kinesiology, and you can go get a job doing that stuff. That's what I do. I do a job in chemistry. Many people go off and from their research experience that they got here at the front lines of research, they go get a job somewhere out there or they go into graduate school. So that's maybe the unique thing that we have to offer here at UNCG. Happy to take your questions.
Awesome. So that reminds me. So if you have any questions, be sure to text the number. It's on your screen right now. So if you have any questions about anything, whether it's for our faculty members or our students, be sure to let us know so we can answer all of your individual questions. So we do have a great panel of some student perspectives as well. So we're going to go ahead and hear from them, whether it's a student organization that they're a part of, whether it's some undergraduate research experience they have the experience that you all want to be a part of. So we'll go ahead and hear from them about their own experiences. So I know you shared a little bit about maps and chants and everything associated with that, but Luz, if you have anything else to offer about your experience within your programs here at UNCG.
But just like I mentioned before, with MAPS, this is a very well-known student organization. We're open to all students where we provide our resources, panels, professional panels for students, and conferences. We also look into volunteer experiences, although right now everything is limited, so our focus is on creating those networks that students need to fulfill and keep for the rest of their years here at UNCG. With Chance, this is something very special to me because it deals more with the Latinx community, although this is open to all high school students who are interested and parents that know that their child needs an extra oomph getting into college and the college preparation. Overall, I'm just like you guys. I'm looking into higher education. I am looking into grad schools right now, so I'm right in the boat with you guys looking for the best fit school. And all I can say is that I know UNCG was a great option, and I hope it is for you all too.
Thank you so much. I mean, if you hear it from the students, you can't hear it from anybody else better. If the current students say how great the school is, you're going to have a great experience too. I know we have Siobhan here representing AMSA and healthcare work and her experience within that. So do you want to share a little bit more?
Yes, thank you so much. So as I said earlier, I'm the current president for AMSA, which is the American Medical Student Association. We were founded in 2015, and we are the first and largest pre-health organization on campus. We cater to all pre-professions. Like I said previously, I'm pre-PA, our events coordinator is pre-physical therapy, everyone else is pre-med, and of course we also make sure we are assisting our students who are pre-pharmacy and so on. I'm also second year vice president for ALD, which is Alpha Lambda Delta, an honor society for first year students. Sorry about that. I currently work for UNC Rex Hospital as a CNA on staffing response team, which means I work everywhere. Saturday I was in heart and vascular. I do oncology, bariatrics, neurology, you name it, I'm there. Fun fact, Rex is where I was born, and I'm hoping to go from patient to CNA to PA at the very hospital I was born. I also have a high interest in volunteer work. At ALD, I've organized our first Toys for Tots event. I participated in food drives with Food Lines or the Rama, which I love. It's like hundreds of people come together, and we packed over 200,000 pounds of food. They do music, we dance, we celebrate. My main goal when volunteering is assisting those from rural communities and misfortunes. And in ANZA, with current circumstances, like Lou said, things have been a little different, but we are currently doing a mentorship program as well. We are participating in Operation Excel, which is a program where we assist elementary school children and middle school children with their virtual classes, and also organizing giving cards to healthcare workers to say thank you for your hard work during these times. And I love UNCG as well.
Thank you. You actually mentioned a really good point, that being service. So our motto here at UNCG is service. So a ton of students participate in service opportunities, whether it's here on campus or giving back to the Greensboro community or even the community that they're from, like you give back to the Rex Hospital community. So it's a really great way to supplement your in-class education with some out-of-class experience as well. So that is an example of a way to get involved in that. Next up, we have James, who's going to talk a little bit about our Honors College as well as the McNair Scholars Program. And these are programs that a lot of our students who are interested in graduate school after graduation take part in.
Yeah, thanks so much, Corinne. So in the Honors College, there are 2 honors tracks, and doing both gives you full university honors. So the first is international honors. That's the honors that you apply to when you're incoming as an incoming freshman. And if you meet the prereqs for that, you're automatically invited to apply. And that program is really focused on giving you a depth of knowledge in your general education courses. So cultivating well-rounded scholars in diverse areas of learning. And it also has a significant emphasis on global perspectives. So whether that be study abroad or getting interactions with international students like right now, since we can't study abroad, that's what it really emphasizes. The second is disciplinary honors. So that's honors within your major. And each department is a little bit different. But for me as a biology major, that looks like doing contract courses in my major. So last semester I took cell biology and contracted it. And what that means is doing additional honors coursework in addition to regular classwork to give you a better depth of knowledge of the topic that you're studying. So I was able to do a research paper on the cellular mechanisms of Parkinson's disease because I have some interest in neurobiology. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the McNair Scholars Program. The McNair Scholars Program is named after Ronald E. McNair, who was the second Black astronaut and died very tragically on one of the Voyager missions. But it's a Department of Education program that's funded at hundreds of schools across the country and really emphasizes creating upward mobility for students from underrepresented communities. So whether that's racially and ethnically diverse communities or low income and first generation students as well. And with that program, there's also a research component, and they also help you get outside research experience. So there are things called RAUs, if you're familiar, research experiences for undergraduates, which are programs at other institutions that you don't necessarily have to be enrolled at in order to apply for. And you might notice a common theme in all of these things, disciplinary honors and McNair Scholars, that there's research. And I don't think most students traditionally think of UNC Greensboro as a big place to do research, but I think like Dr. Oberles was saying, this is a fantastic institution to do research at because we have so many faculty with NSF grants, NIH grants, multi-million-dollar grants who are doing really significant groundbreaking work in the sciences. And we don't have the same volume of applicants for research assistantships as a school like Duke or UNC or NC State, where practically every undergrad in the sciences wants to do research. So if that's something you're interested in, and I'm assuming you are because you're here at this pre-professional panel on research is really important for professional schools, I definitely recommend UNC Greensboro. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much, James. Next up, we have Emily, who's going to share a little bit about Helping Hands as well as her own experience with observation and research within her departments.
Hi, so I've been involved in undergraduate research for over a year now, and I've worked with 3 different PhD students. I'm in the VEER lab, which stands for Virtual Environment for Assessment and Rehabilitation, and this lab looks a lot at applied biomechanics. There are also a bunch of other labs within the KIN department, so that's not the only one. Currently, I'm working with 2 of the PhD students, and for one of them, I'm doing a lot of data input. That student has a really high volume of data, so I'm helping them organize it and get it into a virtual format, and I'm most likely going to be helping with future data collection as well. For the second student, I'm scoring balance assessment tests with them, and this directly relates to my field of interest, physical therapy, because this is something I've seen in my observation hours, and it's something that is taught in schools. And hopefully I'll be working with that grad student and the head of that lab to create an abstract for publication in the winter or spring. Moving into observation hours, last winter I began to collect my observation hours, which is one of the many prereqs for grad school. I was at a very, very small outpatient clinic, but I got to see a surprisingly wide variety of treatments for TMJs, degenerative neurological problems, and various injuries you'd expect to see in PT clinics, like muscular, tendon, and ligament injuries. I am looking to get more hours since I only have 45, and this time next year I'll have applied to PT schools. I am looking to get them in varied settings because that is something they want to see. So I'd like to go to a hospital for acute care, or a nursing home for an inpatient location, but obviously right now that's not as accessible. So, and then lastly, I joined the Helping Hands Club a few weeks ago, actually. And this club provides 3D printed recreational prosthetic devices for children with limb differences. So this chapter is still really new. It just formed in March and then had to go on pause because of the pandemic. But we do currently have one case for a young girl, and it is a prosthetic hand. And we've been meeting virtually due to the pandemic, but we do meet pretty regularly and are currently planning a virtual support event where we'll be meeting with some of the other chapters from other schools and with some people that have received these prosthetic devices.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So our last panelist to kind of share his experience is Alan, who's representing PreDental as well as the Dental Association on campus. So what do you have to add for us today, Alan?
Thank you so much. And again, my name is Alan. I am in the PreDental track. And as Dr. Maxwell mentioned, there is much more than obtaining good grades and good test scores. Major topics are to help that help students stand out when they apply is that they join professional societies or clubs, such as the UNCG Dental Club, and another things having good eye to hand coordination and being an effective communicator. And lastly, being passionate about volunteering, helping others. A little about myself, I have attended 2 American Dental Education Association recruitment events, one in Orlando, Florida, and the other one in Chicago. I have volunteered in various dentistry from the heart events around North Carolina, and I have also volunteered in one dental office in Mexico City, which is something great. Most of these opportunities came through the UNCG Dental Club. So that is something that I'm really grateful for. Last week, we actually had Dr. Jordan Brown, who as our guest speaker, who attended the University of Michigan Dental School. That's one of the best universities in the world. So it was great hearing from his journey, his experience, and about how he went through dental school, how he got full ride scholarship. So we have a lot of good resources here. There are many ways to improve through these topics. Therefore, I'm here to answer any of your questions that you may have in regards to this. Uh, Everything has changed now due to the coronavirus, so it can be difficult for all of us. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And here at UNCG, we love to help each other.
So speaking of that, I actually have a question that you can probably help with, Alan, and then possibly Dr. Ingram as well. So I have a student who wants to go into dental school. They know that for sure, but they don't know just yet what major that they want to do. Is it possible to be pre-dental as well as be exploratory?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. In my case, I am not a biology, chemistry, or biochemistry major. My major is actually in the languages, literatures, and cultures department, and it is a concentration in global languages and communities with a pre-dental track, which is something that Dr. Maxwell mentioned. You do not have to follow a specific major in regards to science. It doesn't have to be kinesiology, biology, chemistry, or biochemistry. It can be whatever, as long as you're passionate about that, is going to expand the view and is going to make you stand out from other students.
Awesome. Do you have anything to add for that, Dr. Ingram?
No, that was perfectly well said. And I will reiterate, you can be any major you want to be. You can be an art major, you can be an English major, you can be a business major. Your major is a separate thing from your interest track. If you choose a particular interest track, whether it's dentistry, medicine, PA, PT, there will be some classes that are prerequisites to get into those schools, but you can do those even in addition to your major classes. So you can be any major you want to.
Thank you so
much. I want to reiterate something that Alan said that's really important, which is, you know, if there's a lot of biology pre-med or biology pre-dents and you're applying as a languages, literatures, and cultures major pre-dent, you're going to stand out. And he's absolutely right. In addition to following your heart, which is going to make you happier because you're taking classes you enjoy, you're going to stand out if you pick something different than the traditional planned path major.
Okay, thank you so much. So I have a kind of triple header question, so I'll ask it in 3 parts so to not overwhelm you. But the first part of it, for any of our faculty members, how do our pre-professional programs set up students to be competitive for grad school applications? So how in the past have you seen our students really excel when applying for graduate school?
Nick, do you want to talk about that? Because I think it's the research more than anything else.
Hang on, sorry, sure. I'm happy to talk about it. I mean, that's a good question, and there's a bit of a tough love answer. The tough love answer is you kind of get yourself set up, but we will give you every opportunity. So what I would say is, you know, if you think about what it takes to, let's just say pharmacy school, since I'm the pre-pharmacy guy on campus, your scores, meaning your GPA, is about 25% of what it takes to get into pharmacy school. And that's probably true with med school and anything else. And so that other 75% is what else you've done. And so the other things you might have done are volunteering. You heard Alan talk a lot about volunteering. You heard about a club where you can learn how to 3D print a hand for somebody. I mean, think about that. Somebody doesn't have a hand and you just printed one for them. How amazing is that? But we can't make Emily do that. But I bet you somebody said to Emily, hey, did you know that there's this club that makes a hand, right? You know, and that's the kind of conversation we have all the time. So in the chemistry department, we advise all of our students one-on-one, meaning the faculty do it. And with the pre-pharmacy students, there are 160 pre-pharmacy students on campus. Every single one of them can call me, set up an appointment, come by my office. And usually it's a long conversation, meaning you come one semester, you come the next semester, and I keep on looking at your thing and I keep on saying something like, Alan, yes, you can be a language major, but you know, you ought to volunteer in something health related if you want to be a dentist, right? And he says, oh, well, that's a good idea, Professor. Can you give me a suggestion? And I give him some suggestions. Same thing with research. You could work in my lab, you could work in a lab in biology, you could work in a lab in kinesiology, but it's on you to go find that. Right. So I can help you make the introduction, but you've got to open the door and go do it. So I forget the exact question. Like a lot of professors, I can ramble on, but, you know, we're there to help you. to guide you, to give you suggestions. I've even had students, just so you know, I've had students come and sit in my chair, which is right there, I'm pointing at it, with this kind of dejected look like, I did the farm tech thing and I hated it. Now what do I do? This is a kid who wanted his whole life to be a pharmacist, or at least he thought he did. Well, as I said, he's not going to go become a criminal, right? He can go off and find a job. And I give, what did you, you know, I think his name was John. John, what did you like? And he tells me what he likes, and we start making some suggestions, and he goes. And I haven't talked to John in years, but I'm pretty sure he's quite happy doing something productive for society. So that's kind of how it works.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hop in real quick, and I have a 6-year-old right here who's getting a little hot for dinner time, so I see him popping into my virtual. This is what happens during pandemic. Okay. Say this, so I'm gonna say one really great thing about the pre-professionals. It brings the students together with like interests, and it gets them beyond. Because I get this all the time, and I think all my faculty probably attest to this. Why do you want to be a physical therapist or a doctor, whatever? I want to help people. Such a generic answer that really doesn't do much and doesn't move the conversation forward. But the pre-professionals, when you get with like students, you can bounce ideas off each other, and you guys can talk about, why do you really want to be a physical therapist, an athletic trainer, a pharmacist, etc., and get down to the nitty-gritty of what drives you, what's your passion, what gets you up to go and do observation hours, to go into the research lab, to input literally thousands of bits of data into PSS and gets them all wanting to do it. So that's one of the big things that I get out of pre-professional.
That's a really good point. And I'm also happy that we have such a young person so excited to learn about our pre-professional tracks with your 6-year-old. That is so good. He's going to be so prepared when it comes to college. So kind of the second part to that question, and I think James would be a good person to answer this with the McNair experience, is by being a part of any specific programs, you receive any help in applying to graduate school.
Yeah, totally. So absolutely, with the McNair Scholars Program, I think that's a perfect example. I know Dr. Professor Maxwell mentioned a few moments earlier, about how as a pre-professional student, you get 2 advisors. As a McNair Scholar student, you get 3 advisors. And as an honors student, you get 4 advisors. Yeah, and that advisor in the McNair Scholars Program is specifically there to make sure that you are doing everything you need in order to make yourself competitive to apply to graduate school. Now, the McNair Scholars Program is specifically geared at getting students into PhD programs. So when you're looking at McNair Scholars Programs, they generally discourage students who are strictly interested in like a JD, a Juris Doctorate, or a MD or DO, to apply, because the program is designed by the Department of Education to be specifically for PhDs. But certainly if you're interested in medical scientist training programs, MD, PhD programs, then they absolutely invite you to apply. And I know there are some students who are strictly interested in JDs as well. Practically speaking, what that looks like is they have meetings with you monthly to discuss your plans and your trajectory. And then it is a funded program. So for the Summer Research Institute, when you're required to be on campus, and again, if you're required to be on campus for research, that means you've done weeks and weeks, even months of planning ahead of time, getting a faculty mentor, planning a project. So you're going to hit the ground running in the summer. And it's a fully funded program so that you're not worried about getting a part-time job or even a full-time job in addition, so that you can afford to live on campus while you're doing that. So yeah, there's monetary compensation, monetary support, and also the support of faculty and advisory staff.
And I want to jump in on the end of that and say, in terms of applying for health-related professional schools, Dr. Ingram and I both work in the summer, which is when most applications to dental schools and med schools and pharmacy schools and physical therapy schools occur. We help with personal statement writing. We help with the application process. We help with mock interviews. We help with, how do I fill this into the application? Who should I ask to write my letters of recommendation and evaluation? And we continue to work with students as alums after they graduate for as long as they need us, whether it's 10 years after they graduate or 6 months after they graduate. And in fact, our Career Development Center also will help with you with that application, the mock interviews, and the personal statement writing, even our Writing Center. helps with the personal statement for the med school and dental school and pharmacy school application. So yes, we definitely help with the application and preparing that competitive packet to apply.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So our third part to that question, and this is up for anybody, maybe any of our students who are currently applying for schools or our faculty members who have experience seeing where students go. Where do students in pre-professional programs typically go to graduate school?
All over the map. But a lot of them go in North Carolina or Virginia or South Carolina, but all over the map.
Might I interject that I know if you go on the biology department website, you can find this out too, but I have a mentor who's a past graduate of UNCG who did their PhD at Duke and then did their postdoctorate at Stanford. And they're a graduate of UNCG. I know I've heard from one of the faculty in the department, Dr. Lepre, who's the honors liaison for the biology department, that we have a past alum who's now the chief of pediatric medicine at Johns Hopkins hospital. So we definitely matriculate students who go and do really big and incredible things.
That is something I did not know. That is very cool.
I'll give you an idea. I've got a list in front of me. If you want to know where our students went last year, Colorado, ECU, Brody, Meharry, Howard, Loyola, West Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth University, Ohio State, Morehouse, Baylor, East Tennessee, Virginia Tech, Carilion, Wake Forest. Let's see, who else we have? University of Georgia, Cincinnati, and Case Western University. So if you want to look at just where did MD students go from UNCG last year, that's our last year's group.
Wow, very good. So as we said before, truly all over the map. So we got some world travelers, or at least some U.S. travelers here within our UNCG grads. So this might be a question that you can help out with Dr. Maxwell as well, or Professor Maxwell. One of our viewers is asking, do I have to have a certain GPA to be in a pre-professional program?
That's a great question. And I know at some universities, it is required that you meet certain credentials, but for us, we feel like when you come into UNCG, you're recreating yourself as a student, and how you performed in high school, as Dr. Oberlease mentioned, you may find that you're a very different student when it comes to college. And so we take everyone based on their interest. And if you are interested in being a physician assistant, we're going to help you figure out if that's certainly something that you really want to do. So there's no requirements, no credentials. You're going to come in and you can declare. We don't turn anyone away because everybody has the potential. And we treat everyone as they have the potential to do exactly what they wanted to do.
Very good. So we have just under 10 minutes left, so we'll do kind of a speed round-ish with these last couple questions. So this is a really good question, and this is one of the benefits of having some students on the call, because students want to hear about their perspective, and just very candidly, they want to know, how hard is it being a pre-professional student? Is it a lot of work? Do you feel supported in your programs? What has your experience been as a pre-professional student? We'll start with Luz maybe, and then go to Siobhan.
Oh, that is a very good question. It is challenging, yes, especially if you come from an underserved area, especially you won't have the resources or you wouldn't have taken those classes. And especially if you're going into the hard sciences, you don't know how, or I didn't know personally, how to study and prepare for these classes. Switching over to a psychology major, I realized that my psychology courses require a different type of study habits than the hard sciences. So that's something that you'll learn on yourself. But overall, they are challenging, a bit more intimidating in the beginning, especially once you achieve those classes, get those grades. You'll be able to, you'll know the professors, you'll get a tutor. We have tutoring services here that I took advantage of during my undergraduate career. It is free, so definitely take advantage. After that, once you know the professors, the students, you'll have study groups. The challenge will be making sure who got the highest grade out of your friends. But after that, I think it's manageable.
And then Siobhan, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, going off what she said, it's definitely not the easiest thing. However, you find ways, you find how to study, you find what works best for you. I remember coming into UNCG, I was one of those students in high school where I never studied. I know that sounds terrible, but all my grades came natural. Like I was like, oh, this will like I just got it. Like I just got it. It'll be great. It's fine. I took my first biology exam and I called my mom like, Mom, I don't know what I just did. I don't know what happened. Like so like after that I was like flashcards, I was Quizlet, I was study groups, I was in SIP. Like I was doing everything to get to realize that okay, this is not high school, but it's definitely manageable. Definitely being in groups too, like they said earlier, you find people with the same interests as you and you really find a way to study together and what works best for you.
And you mentioned a really awesome program called SAP. That stands for our Supplemental Instruction Program. What that entails is another student comes back and takes a course again, not as an actual student, but as a tutor. So they're sitting in the same course as you, taking the same notes, and then they'll host study groups after the fact to really break down that information. And so it's a way to break down a larger class into a smaller setting to really like hammer in that information for you. So that is a really awesome resource, especially within the hard science classes. So this is a a question for Dr. Terra Nova, because I know you mentioned the Masters in Athletic Training program. This person wants to know if there are any more professional graduate programs offered within UNCG.
Really good question. You're going to get out of my comfort zone a little bit here. I believe CSD has a program, but I'm not sure if that's the undergrad level. In kinesiology, no, we only have Master of Science in Athletic Training. We are going to be developing a clinical exercise physiology program. That's going to be a couple years down the pipe. But as of right now, athletic training is the only one that I know of. And I saw Robin hold up 2 fingers. So good segue to Robin.
Okay, so we have the only genetic counseling master's program in the state right now. Wake Forest is getting ready to start a program, but we have had one for 20 years. So we're a trailblazer in the field of genetic counseling, which is really cutting edge right now. So that's a big one that we are very well known for. The second professional graduate program we have is speech pathology and audiology, which is, I know what Aaron was referring to with communication sciences disorders, CSD, and that's speech pathology and audiology. We have an undergrad or bachelor's degree in that and a master's degree in that. Mm-hmm. It's a really well documented master's. And then not to forget, we have a wonderful nursing school and we have master's degrees in nursing, as well as PhDs in nursing that are offered here at UNCG.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So this very last question is also kind of a double header, but I'll go ahead and ask it at once and I'll send it to Dr. Ingram. So this student wants to know that they're in between going to medical school or dental school. They want to know if they switch their track halfway through their time at UNCG, would it affect their ability to get into graduate school, and would they still be able to graduate in 4 years?
Yeah, switching your interest track has no bearing on getting into a grad school or anything of the sort. What that's going to do is signal to your advisor a change in what you might be interested in going into. It's perfectly fine to do that. It's easy to do that. We encourage, as you learn more about yourself, if you shadow a dentist and a doctor and somebody else in another field, and you start to find your way toward what you might want to work on professionally, we encourage that. It's easy to switch a track. It's something you can do in about 30 seconds on the computer. You can have a conversation with your primary academic advisor, your pre-health advisor. There are lots of resources around to help you navigate that. That's what we're built to do. That's what our pre-professional program setup is built to do, is to help you navigate those changes.
Yeah, there's only 2 courses different between pre-dental preparation and pre-med preparation. Only 2 courses, and they're towards the end. No problem.
Okay, perfect. So that brings us to our ending. So we have just about 2 minutes left. So if everybody wants to go through and again, quickly introduce yourself, the department that you're with, and give one quick piece of advice that you have for incoming students. We'll go ahead and actually start with our students. So we'll start with Alan, and then we'll wrap up with Professor Maxwell. So Alan, if you want to give your biggest piece of advice for incoming students.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I am in the Languages, Literatures, and Cultures department. And one advice that I would give is to get involved in different clubs. If you can do AMSA, the UNCG Dental Club, on MAPS. I am actually part of this newly established chapter. It's called Alpha, and it's for Latino professionals. So we have over 250 clubs. If we don't have it for you, you can make it, you can create one. So please join clubs, find a group of people who are going to push you, not hold you back. And that's my advice.
Okay, thank you so much. Emily?
My biggest piece of advice would also be to get involved, but also to use all the resources you have available to you, like use your professors, use your friends, see what options are available on campus and further into your department.
Okay, and then we have James.
Yeah, I'm just a reminder, James, with the biology department, and my biggest piece of advice is there's so many free educational resources. So if you don't know how to study, start learning now and write things down, make lots of lists and check them off.
I echo that as well. Siobhan, what do you have for us?
Definitely try to get to know staff. I know personally, like with Dr. Maxwell, the first time I had my meeting with her for IMDA, I got on the phone with my best friend and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like the best ever. Like, we're so cool. Like, it was the best conversation. It was so chill. So like, definitely get to know like your advisors and people. They'll really help you and they know what they're talking about. So trust them.
Very true. Luz?
Hi everyone, my name is Luz Mejia again. As a pre-med student, I have represented the psychology department, and my last piece of advice is staying open-minded. If you have an opportunity arise that you don't think has anything to do with you, I would still take it because you never know who or what is going to be there for you to take advantage of later on.
Okay, then we have Professor Overlees.
Well, I can't say it in the same language that Siobhan said. Like, I can't speak the way all of you students speak, but what she said is right. Like, kind of go with it. Like, don't come into the university thinking you know everything because you've watched whatever television show or you had some uncle who told you how to become a doctor. Like, I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that to really open your mind and like, we are here. I mean, you can come sit in my office. You can call me on the telephone. You can send me an email too, but I get 100 of those a day. But if you come knock on my door, I'll talk to you for a half an hour, like it's nothing, even in the middle of COVID. I'll put on a mask. But so seriously, like really kind of like Alan said, like embrace the opportunities out there and like keep an open mind. Like you'll be surprised at how much you'll learn in 4 years.
Very true. Dr. Terra Nova?
Dr. Terra Nova, Department of Kinesiology, athletic training / pre-PT. As a reminder, my best advice is be open to change. If you think you're going to get from A to B in a straight line, it's not going to happen. I mean, who would have thought we'd be in the middle of a pandemic? So, you know, when you get lemons, make lemonade. Be adaptable, be ready to change, be ready to find what you're good at, things you may never known before, and enjoy your time here. College is fun. Enjoy it. Have fun with your time. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. We have Dr. Ingram.
Sure. Two quick ones. I'm Dr. Ingram. I'm the anatomy instructor in the biology department. Two quick things. First, follow your heart. I think this is a summary of what everybody else has already said, but there's no set path to a particular health profession. There's no set path to medical school. There's no set path to PT school. You can be whatever major you want to be. There's a lot of experiences to be had. So, you know, be open to those possibilities. The second thing I will mention is if you think you want to be a certain kind of health professional, if you think you might want to be a dentist, if you think you might want to be a physician assistant, go hang out with those people that do that. Go shadow, go find some people to spend a few hours a week with and learn what they do, live with them for a short while, and you will have the opportunity to do that while you're at UNCG.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, we have Professor Maxwell.
And I'm going to agree with what everybody said, but I'm going to add one more thing that I didn't hear anybody say, and that is at UNCG, if you're ever in a position where you feel like you're overwhelmed and in over your head, ask for help, because you have free tutoring, as Luz mentioned, SIP, which is free, counseling, which is free, crisis counseling, which is free, advisors who will work with you, kind of like Aaron and Nick were saying, advisors who will work with you. All you have to do is ask. If you're suffering and if you feel like no one knows who I am, UNCG is small enough that we actually do know who you are and we do care about every single student. We're not that big university. We're this small, close-knit university, and all you have to do is ask, and you're going to find 10 people who are going to jump in to help you. But just ask. Never suffer alone. You don't need to suffer alone. We'll help you.
I couldn't agree more. So thank you so much to all of our panelists for all of your awesome advice and input and information about all things pre-professional programs, as well as UNCG as a whole. If you like what you learned, I really encourage you to look up our custom view books. It's a really awesome way to create a tailored UNCG experience. So if you're interested in doing biology with a pre-med concentration, or if you want to do psychology with pre-PT, whatever you're looking for, you can create your own individualized version of it, and you can do that by scrolling all the way to the bottom of our open house page and fill out your own custom version. We're also back to offering in-person tours, which is really exciting. So if you want to take a tour of our beautiful campus, you can just sign up for that on our website for a individual tour with one of our Spartan guides. Be sure to tune back in tomorrow at 4 p.m. for our next visit, or our next virtual open house in this series. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much to all of our panelists. I hope you have a great rest of your evening and a great semester.